Okay, we should we, we should be live. I hope. All
Yeah.
right, take it away, Mitsuko.
Yeah, cool. Hey guys, thanks for joining us today again. Welcome to the Questionable Outcomes, episode 11. I
Yeah.
can't remember, what was the title, Kelvin?
Well, I just literally made it up in like 5 minutes. So it's relatable, regrettable, and redeemable. So we're
Yes.
talking about just
So,
different things that we either noticed, experienced, or heard that we're like
or
we
you
kind of question.
witnessed
Yeah,
that
that we kind of yeah
maybe questionable, like something that maybe you witnessed in the public, or it could be
at work
anything.
off, like
Work, your friends, your parents,
yeah.
anything.
So yeah, it's kind of more freeform. We haven't actually spoken that much during this week because we've both been kind of busy and shit. So it could be
Yeah.
just us like bullshitting for the next hour and a half.
Yeah,
But who
talking
knows?
shit. So yeah, let's see how we go. But yeah, if it's like way off, like random, sorry guys in advance.
Yeah, well, whatever. So I have a lot of stories about my time as a migration agent. Yes, I was a migration agent in my former life. Obviously, things didn't work out. Maybe that was a questionable career path to begin with because I'm no longer following those steps because for obvious reasons, there's probably not going to be that much work for the next few years. But plenty of stories about people wanting to get to Australia by all means necessary, and I really do mean all means necessary.
Yeah.
Yeah. But did you have any
Um.
stories
Oh.
that you?
To be honest, like we had this discussion, like, oh, what are we gonna talk about, like next week? In the previous episode, and we're like, oh yeah, what about like talk about something that you witnessed that's questionable in public, etc. And we decided on the topic, but then I was so busy, like literally, I haven't really thought about what that I've sort of experienced in my personal life. Um, but yeah, like when you say about so so many people, really desperate and wanting to come to Australia, like I was talking to a couple of friends yesterday, and
Mm-hmm.
we were, really, when you actually sit down and think like what we've got here, like we're pretty lucky. Like we're pretty lucky in Australia. We have a, you
Well,
know,
yeah, we have Medicare which covers us if we get the Rona. we
mhm.
and everyone complains about how strict everything's been in Australia, but I think we've got off lucky compared to a lot of other countries.
Yeah, and like even then, like sometimes like just doing anything regular, like everyone does, like sitting down with your friends or your partner or your family, and just having dinner at the table. Like sometimes I pause for a moment and think that, wow, fuck, we're really lucky because we got a roof above our heads,
Mm-hmm.
we've got like food to eat every day, we don't have to
Mm-hmm.
go hungry, there's no war at the
Yeah.
moment.
That's well,
but
well,
you
yeah.
know
Crisis
but
averted. Let's not get
we're
political, but
like
crisis
yeah,
averted.
yeah, but like we're living in a pretty safe country. Like you don't have to worry about where am I gonna sleep tonight, am I gonna get
Yeah, evicted.
mugged,
Yeah. Like, where's my next meal coming from? I mean, full disclosure, I'm on the poorer end of society, but I live pretty comfortably. Like, I have
yeah,
enough to get by, and then that's just it. I mean, even my lifestyle itself is pretty questionable because I'm not working at the moment, and so I'm just pretty much resting on my laurels until I go back to uni. But I mean, this is the kind of lifestyle that only people in the West, particularly in Australia, and probably more of the the countries that care a lot for the poorer population can actually live comfortably in because even in the greatest nations in the world, some of them don't really have a robust security system. So you're like, hey, you don't have a job. Well, I guess I'll go die now. It's pretty much at that level.
yeah,
But
yeah,
yeah, I mean that's definitely. I know I'm very lucky in my circumstance because I shouldn't have a roof over my head. I shouldn't be able to stream. I shouldn't be able to go play tennis every single day. But it's just the way that things work out. And it's just like, yeah, sure, I'm lucky in that unlucky in that regard. But I think that's probably another thing that we could talk about. What about people that don't appreciate this country? I mean, like you've probably seen like this is probably the more Karen talk.
Or just like people like, sometimes you come across people who just complains and don't stop. It's like
They're Karens, yeah.
this is yeah, like, just have a complete negative output to things and you
Yeah,
know, people take things for granted sometimes.
I mean, it's kind of like in more recent memory, I can just remember like again, not to get it too political, but just like the kind of the way that people, some Karens have kind of responded to the COVID kind of lockdowns. And I mean, it's just like, yeah, masks do help, and if you're gonna give shit to the police, you're gonna get it. You know what I mean? And then suddenly they cry out like, oh, everything's like government controlled and they're being lied to, and like, oh, they just say we're being locked down, we're going to be locked down forever. Like they said that about Queensland because we just went through a 3 day like hard lockdown because we
It's just
yeah,
3 days, so don't
exactly.
tell me that because I'm in
And
Melbourne.
I was like, what the fuck are you guys complaining about? Because like, Melbourne's been in lockdown for like 3 months, and you bitches are moaning about 3 days. I mean,
4 months.
yeah, and exactly. See, I even missed the month that was that long. So
Yeah.
it was just frustrating to see people like, oh, the government's trying to control us. I'm like, the fuck the government wants to control you for? It's like, there's the where it's like even in the most like depraved countries in the world, they will only control you if you're not doing what they want you to do. You know what I mean? It's like if you're making money, if you're quiet and you don't do anything, they're not gonna give a damn to you. They only want to control the people who are starting shit. So don't start
Yeah.
shit. It's
Yeah.
just, I mean, it's a bit harder in other countries, but we're in Australia. It's just like,
Yeah.
the biggest shit we're gonna start off is like start
Mm.
start pissing off sport people. That's another questionable
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Sports fans. Oh god. But no, I mean that was probably something to start off with, the kind of in the vein of, yeah, we've kind of seen people kind of act really weird, and I think it's just it's just the self isolation and the fact that the only socializing you can do is like on platforms like we're doing at the moment, which is sad for some.
Yeah. And this is exactly the reason why we came up with the idea, okay, let's do a podcast.
It's just like, what the fuck was like, we talk that much anyways. You might as well fucking put
Yeah.
it on the internet.
Yeah,
It might be about it.
exactly.
That in itself is probably a questionable thing because it's just like the kind of shit that I say off stream. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know if I can have my filter on it during these talks.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, oh, like
But
I'm
if
pretty
you
good with
ask
that.
me, like, have I seen anything? Like, I mean, yes. I
I
might
mean, you
have
do live
to.
in Melbourne.
I
Yeah,
I can't really think of anything like significant at this moment, but just little things like, I've seen, I just like go out or, me and my partner might be out for like a day trip or whatever, out and about. And, I just see some people like, or a couple like, treating like the other person like shit, like,
oh yeah.
and it's just not nice. Like just little things like that, or like the other not too long ago, I saw a mom with like a really small toddler, probably like 2 years old or something, and he was on this like little scooter, and really like right next to like at an intersection where the road is really busy,
Yeah, yeah.
and I don't know what, I wasn't really paying attention, but all I saw was like the mom was like yanked his arm so hard that he like fell off the scooter kind of thing, like really
Oof,
aggressive.
oof,
And it's
yeah,
just like, yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
like,
mean, yeah.
why are
I
you
mean,
doing that?
I think that, and I think this story kind of ties into the overall theme of what we've been talking about just in the last 11 episodes. But
I
one
mean,
of the
like
stuff,
yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like one of the stories that I told you a couple of days ago, because I remember it, is one time, this is when Audi first came out, and I thought it was really depressing to go into Audi at first because I'm just like, wow, this is so not really a customer friendly experience because like everything's stacked up on like boxes and stuff, and nothing's really nice and laid out. Now I'm just like, hey, I'm a cheap ass, I'll just go to Audi. You know what I mean? But first when it first came out, everyone was a little bit apprehensive about it. But I saw this one couple. It was an Asian guy, probably Vietnamese. I'm not going to make any assumptions. And an Australian, white Australian girlfriend, and they were talking about dinner, and it was funny because it's just like the Asian guy's just going, you know what? Can we get lasagna again? And she's like, you know what? I don't really feel like lasagna again. We always eat it all the time. It's like I don't want to eat lasagna all the time. It's like if I got my favorite food all the time, you wouldn't like it either. I'm just thinking, wait, 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 wait. So the Asian guy is like into lasagna, and the white chick's going no. Like what the fuck is happening here? Yeah. So it's really weird now how like the kind of the cultural things have kind of blurred because we're all second generation, all like
Yeah,
pretty adjusted to Australian life. So
yeah,
it's not as odd as like hey, you want to go down to the park and have a few snacks. That's pretty common for an Asian guy to come up with something like that. Like one of my friends was he's a tech support guy and he's an
yeah.
Asian too, and he was over in Canada, and and every single time he'd make a call and for a meeting, like they'd open the doors, they'd open the door and see him and go, "Hey, where's the Australian guy?" It's like, "G'day, mate." So they were assuming that it was a white guy on the other end of the line, and then suddenly they walk up and it's this Asian guy just like with an Asian accent.
Yeah.
But but yeah, that was just something that I found interesting because it's just like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, like even for me, I mean, my partner is an Australian. He's French, but like, sometimes like I I'm Japanese. I love Japanese food, and that's not gonna change for the rest of my life. I know that. I love Asian food altogether. So like, I sometimes have a phase of like just doing like Asian meals like straight out, like, a few days in a row. And sometimes like my partner is like, "What? Rice again?"
oh shit.
And
It's like, how dare you?
it's
Like,
just so
Nani?
funny because like every time like I make any Asian food or Japanese food, and it's always accompanied by a bit of rice, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we'll have the dinner, and then after we finish the meal, he brings out the bread and cheese. I'm like, and he's like, "Do you want some?" And I'm like, "No, I just had rice. Like,
That's
I
why
don't
you
want
should.
bread."
That's why you should have cheese and rice at the same time. Cheesy rice.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, and it's kind of yeah. It's. I mean, that's another weird thing. So I think I kind of wanted to touch on this because I mean, it's freeform as it is. Like, I have a friend. She's a psychologist, and she's over all the way in England. I did a few podcasts with her before, and strangely enough, when she has children, she says she doesn't want to put them in school. She wants to homeschool.
yeah, okay.
What do you like? If you were ever to adopt a child or have a child or whatever, what's your stance? Is it public, private, or homeschool?
Public.
Mm,
Me personally, public or private, I don't care, whatever. But probably public because private will be too expensive.
well, that's true, but like,
But
yeah.
I, if I had kids, I would definitely want him or her to, be exposed to, the outside world as much as possible because that's just a very important building blocks to learn how to socialize with people and how to
Hmm.
deal with different social situations.
Yeah, that's
So
just that,
I
that,
just don't really know how homeschool is gonna work. I mean, maybe
yeah,
there will be exceptions, like, maybe you might be living somewhere super remote that it's just impossible. Or
yeah.
maybe there's other circumstances that
Oops, sorry.
homeschool is more desirable.
Yeah, I mean that was my I think my thinking as well because she's a psychologist, and I think clinical psychologist, and I'm thinking, well, school, yeah, it's part of the education, but what you learn from school is also like the kind of socialization, right? Like how to handle different social kind of situations, and so without that, aren't you really kind of like hamstringing someone? That they in their own personal development, like they're not able to create friends and stuff like that. I mean, the education is important, but at
Yeah.
the same time, that's
I
that's
wonder
why.
what I wonder
Yes,
what was the reason for her to
yeah, maybe she doesn't
take that
trust
off.
the system, but and we never got around to talking about it. But for me, yeah, I think I don't. Even if I had the money, I really don't think I'd send my children to private schools. I'd probably send them to the best public school that I could possibly
Yeah,
find.
same. Because honestly, like I've been in private school myself, and I guess it was a good school, but I just feel like I don't know. I can't. There's something about public school. I feel like it's more dynamic.
Yeah, I think what happens in private schools is more the fact that there's kind of like an overlying kind of superiority complex, if you know what I mean. Like it's
Yeah, like you're in a bubble almost.
yeah, exactly.
Because I don't know. First thing that will pop in my head would be the uniform. So you're like
Well,
belong
yeah.
to like this church or something, and you just belong to that place. You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
visually you can see that visually. And
Yeah. So maybe that's kind of in a way that we kind of make these kind of pseudo tribes, like you belong to this
Mhm.
school and that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think for me, it's just like the thing about public school is that it's accessible for everyone, right? So, well, in a sense, it's supposed to be accessible for everyone. So not only will you get like people that are, let's say, less capable at school. I'm trying to be politically correct here, and less fortunate than other people. But then
Oh,
you also have like
yes.
the two scales, right?
Yes,
So
it's
people,
very dynamic in that sense. You know why? Because if you're in private school, which I was in the
it's very
past,
expensive. It's very
it's it's
bush.
expensive, and I was very fortunate to have parents who could afford that. But then
Yeah,
when you go in there as a kid, as a student, you are just surrounded by other
rich
kids
kids.
who has a
Yeah.
similarity in
Oh yeah.
the kind of lifestyle, the kind of family you come from. So it's very narrowing in the sense that like the type of people you will going to meet and interact with. Whereas in public school, like you said, there'll be so much more dynamic. There might be, kids from like household with lesser income, maybe a bit more,
Mhm.
maybe like it being in Australia, probably different countries, different
Yeah.
ethnic groups, and it's just yeah.
Yeah, I mean, believe it or not, yeah, as I've probably mentioned this before, but the Catholic school that I went to was actually a private school. So I've been private school until like year eight, so probably a
Yeah,
good 8 years of my life,
yeah,
which is not really much now that I think about it. But
mm,
like I think we got lucky in our particular high school. No doxing, but because ours had a very strong international student program, which Natsuko was
yeah,
kind of a part of, and we were able to not only get like the whole strata of Australian society from lower middle to even a couple of rich kids there, but then we also got like international students in, so it kind of gave us a better snapshot shot of the world compared to say you going to your typical private school where all the mums and dads are lawyers and doctors, because that's what society is, right? It's everyone. You're not just gonna encounter just the really very rich people. You might, but it's not realistic for you to just learn how to interact with your fellow peers of similarity. You gotta kind of learn how to play nice with everyone, which some people still can't do. But yeah, I think it's quite an interesting dynamic in Queensland because everyone, yeah, yeah. Well, sorry, I just reading something that came on screen. I pref- so sorry, I'll read this first. Then. So I prefer to
yeah,
wear a uniform because you don't. have to think about how to dress.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
true.
that's yeah for ladies, yeah, that's kind of thing. But like for me, I was just, I mean, I was pretty. I think I was pretty fashionable back in high school. What would you say?
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah. Oh, God, thanks. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I think I was above average in fashion. I was just, kind of simple, but like kind of stylish because I was cheap. I didn't want to get like pay for school stuff. But yeah, that's a good point. And yeah, so like for example, for in our school, we didn't have a uniform, so maybe there was a lot of judgmental stuff going on. Oh, that person's not wearing it. Blah 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 blah. So I mean, so you kind of had to give some thought to wearing. What about you? How about you when you were in high school? Did you think about much what you were gonna wear every day, or you just like whatever?
I think I was really whatever. Like, believe it or not, I was not a fashionable kid when I was in high school.
I
And
don't remember.
yeah, I feel like it was only like the last 2 years of high school I kind of started like thinking what I want to study, and then it became fashion. But yeah, I came a long way. Like, I was not stylish at all. I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm just gonna wear a t-shirt, and I mean, it's gonna be hot anyway, so it's like you're gonna wear a t-shirt. What else? So,
I mean,
um,
I think we went the opposite because like I would like when I was in high school, I remember wearing like double shirts with pop collars and like these really nice shorts and then like these nice shoes and shit like that. Have like belt with like big ass belt buckles and like paraphernalia left and right. Gel my hair. Now look at me. I'm wearing a fucking Calvin Klein t-shirt and I haven't done my hair for like 4 years. But yeah, I
well,
know. Yeah.
well, maybe back in the day, maybe I was conscious of style and stuff, but probably when I look back now, I'm like, no, that wasn't. But
Well, look,
anyway.
maybe your taste may have matured because now you're
Oh yeah, it changed so much.
yeah, of course. So yeah, he said my friend Noob said that yeah, I didn't mind a uniform to my last 2 years of high school. I can agree with that because I did wear a uniform for most of my schooling life, and the thing is, it's like I went to a really 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 posh school for a year, and man, it was so goofy because you had to wear like those grandpa shorts,
Oh
like
yeah.
grandpa shorts, and you had to wear a t-shirt, and then your socks had to go all the way up. I'm like, oh my fucking god, really? And like black boots that had to be polished. I'm like, shit. And then, like the winter
Wow.
uniform was just as bad because well, I was. This is how indoctrinated I was. I knew how to do a Windsor tie at like 10 years old.
That's a Windsor tie.
You know how you have to tie the tie. You do the tie and you have to do the tie. I knew how to do that by myself when I was 10.
Yeah, I only know the basic method, but
The one with
there's
the
different
triangle.
ways to
Yeah.
tie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
the,
yeah.
the typical
Oh,
one with
that's
the
a Windsor
triangle.
tie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think it is anyways. But anyways, it's but like 'cause it wasn't like the basic just tie it around and just make it look like shit. No, it was a proper one because my dad taught me, and I was just like, okay, well, he taught me a couple of times, and he's like, okay, well, you got to do it yourself now. I'm like, oh fuck,
my
because
dad taught me too. I think I was around the same age as you.
so what's this like? Is this like that song? Man, I feel like a woman. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was really into gothic back in the day, and
All
I had
right.
a necktie, and I'm like, Dad, can you teach me? You need to teach me how to do it. So that's why I know. But
Yeah, yeah. So one of my friends said, Lupita, yeah, said that
yeah,
if your uniform wasn't presentable, that you get sent home and you have to change.
yeah, yeah,
Oh mate, I don't think it happened at our high school very often. I mean, I think most people had common sense. There were probably a few skimpy outfits now and again, but they're not really of
yeah.
concern.
I just
In
remember when I was in private school, we had to have a badge of our
oh
like it kind of looks like a coat of arm, like it's
yeah
a
yeah yeah
badge, and no matter what, you're wearing a vest over the shirt or just a shirt, you have to have it.
yeah.
And kids, like it's like little piddly things, so it's like
Oh,
so
she's funny.
easy to lose it, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're like walking down the hallway and that day maybe you've forgotten at home or you lost it or something and you
Like
get
kids do, yeah.
pulled over by the teacher,
Mm.
they're like, you have to put the badge on. If you don't have it, you have to buy it now.
Oh, so that's just a money. This is a money making scheme, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, in that posh high school where I went to, what they did was they write you a literal citation. Like that's how fucking insane it was. A citation. Oh, Kelvin did not wear his regulation belt today. I'm like, fuck you. I'm wearing a nice Lacoste belt. All right. It was just like literal
Regulation belt.
citation. Like yeah, like the basic like cheap ass belt that they sell for $10, and it's like it looks like shit. So I wear a nice. I think I had I think my dad gave me an Oraton belt, and I was wearing that, and I got written up for that. I'm like, the fuck, it's a fucking belt.
Ah,
Yeah, yeah, but just I don't know. Like that's such a weird thing to do, though. Like the way that if you think about how uniform, because it's up your alley too. Like you, your thoughts on uniform and everything, and as a sociologist, it's kind of creepy because it's a weird way of indoctrination. You must conform. You must wear what everyone else is wearing. You must have it exactly the same way as everyone else. I mean, for students, I mean, it's not so bad, but I can only imagine how bad it gets in the army because they get really, really, really pedantic about their stuff. Like you can't have any creases in your uniform at all. Your boots have to be polished to a mirror sheen and all this kind of stuff. Can't imagine doing that stuff. Just have you heard about those kind of regulations in the army?
in the army, no.
Yeah, because all their uniform has to be pristine all the time.
Yeah.
Well, at least that's one way to get you guys how to do the laundry, I guess. That to learn it doing in the army. Oh,
Yeah. I think out of all the feelings towards uniforms, I think military is, in my personal opinion, is an exception because you have to, you'll be on a mission or whatever, and it's a teamwork.
mhm.
So you have to be united with the people,
Yeah,
like, and move
that's
as
fair.
one.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I'm like, oh yeah, I guess
yeah. I
I
mean,
kind of
it wasn't it
understand.
wasn't it wasn't so much the point about wearing a uniform. It's the point of maintaining that uniform to such
Yeah,
ridiculous
yeah.
standards. Yeah. I mean, yeah, obviously, there's a reason why uniforms exist. Like cops and nurses and stuff like that, firefighters. And like it's like for example, like here's something your boyfriend would know about the French Foreign Legion. Like they're like
Uh,
they're like they're like well they're kind of elite troops of the French army. They're a separate entity themselves, and they're very very big on conformity. So everything has to
okay.
conform to everything. Like your belts, your every single thing, like every single piece of equipment needs to conform to the exact standards. And so
Mm.
we're moving from like uniforms to how uniforms kind of brainwashing into conforming into society. But that's what it is really. But I mean, yeah, I thought it was quite interesting. Even have time asking about you know anything about the French Foreign Legion, you know. So
I'll ask. Yeah, no,
yeah,
I haven't really heard of it, but
yeah, but yeah, I've watched a few
yeah,
docos on it. But
yeah, okay,
uh,
interesting.
yeah. So I think in terms of questionable things, I think. Oh, here's a story. I'll share this little tidbit from when I was working immigration. So uh, you know, I was doing some paperwork for a client of ours, and it turned out the client was actually the best friend of my ex girlfriend, the first one, and then I had the dubious pleasure of going through all of her medical history, and it was not pretty. So I'm just like my dad just gave me a file. I'm like, oh shit, I know this person. This is not good. So just imagine if I did your file and they just pulled up every single infraction and every single thing that you ever did in your life, and it's like, this is not right. Yeah, but there's lots of weird stuff happening when I was in migration. Like you'd get like weird cases, and you. I mean, it is part of the job how you have to you get all the personal details of someone's, but interesting and scary at the same time because you got all your
Yeah.
personal information, and
Yeah. You literally know their entire life.
pretty much. And so, I mean, going through them, there's some questionable things that people have done, like some guy who's committed like a felony, like a really serious crime, but still wants to stay here because his mother has terminal cancer, and you're just like, wow, that's fucked up. So what do we do? Do
Yeah.
we let the guy stay here, even though he's like a convicted felon, or should we send him back and let his mum die without his son, without a son by her side? It's just, so
That's heavy shit.
yeah, I mean, it's sometimes it's lighthearted, and sometimes it's just like, what am I fucking doing? But you know, so things. Ugh, I had something I wanted to say, but it just completely lost my mind. But yeah,
Yeah.
like what about some other stories that maybe you've kind of gone, oh, I don't know, I don't know, if that's the right thing to do. I do. Um, I was just thinking, never mind, something completely different. But
Yeah. I don't know. I really don't know.
mhm,
Uh,
yeah. But like for well, I don't know. There are a couple of people in the chat, so what about a couple of things that maybe you guys have encountered? Have you encountered any real life Karens? Anything that you guys are kind of questioning if it was the right decision or not? Like, I guess this is probably the idea of this is, I guess, while we're thinking about a few examples, the idea is that shame is supposed to keep you paranormal experiences. Well, Natsuko, did actually that's a nice. So, with Kerry, you said that it was like you're not a very pleasant experience. Did that have like a follow on effect? Did it just like did you start believing in ghosts or anything like that, or you just got scared shitless for?
I don't think I was scared. I
It's
was
just
just confused because Santa
right,
gave it to me.
right. So it wasn't
I
like
wasn't
not.
scared. I don't remember, being traumatized by it, but I just knew exactly the storyline as I watched, and I understood what was happening with
It
a
was just
tragic
strange.
ending, and then I just remember it was a great movie, amazing, but it was really sad. So I
So it
wasn't
was a.
traumatized that, but in speaking of paranormal activities,
Mm,
I've experienced a lot of things like that you couldn't explain. So I've seen ghosts. I've
mm,
experienced few starting from Canada actually. Only one encounter, and then a lot in Japan and a lot in Brisbane. So
mm. I've never really had any ghostly experiences. Maybe because I'm not very a strong believer in it, or I just
yeah,
I just fob it off because it's not.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Because I
It's
think
not like I'm even a strong believer. I feel like I'm more attuned to it. So sometimes I see it, sometimes I hear it, feel it.
hmm yeah, for me it's just like the dead can't hurt me kind of thing. It's just like you know.
Yeah, yeah, no, they just, yeah, hardly
But
ever. It's impossible.
I remember I remember this in Brisbane we have this kind of pseudo fake kind of like ghost town experience. And so like they kind of make up these stories and like take you through this like I think it's just an abandoned building and make up ghost stories. And so the whole night I carried like a couple of rocks in my pocket, and every single
Oh,
time I
what?
went past, it's a couple of rocks like pebbles,
Ah,
and I just go by and just like throw a rock at a wall, and people would freak out. I was such an asshole.
oh, so you went on the ghost tour?
Yeah, we went on a ghost tour in Brisbane somewhere, and it was funny because I threw like at the very end of the night, I threw like a rock against a shed, just made this huge clang, and my friend turned around and said, "You asshole." Oh man, because it was one time. It was one thing. What happened was we had like a group of like 30 kids, and so what happens was like they were explaining about this mummified corpse and everything like that. And it was like just some fucking like doll with like some toilet paper on it or something. Probably worth a lot of money these days, you know. But like, you know, and he was explaining how you know all the death and stuff, and then suddenly. But I knew something was going to happen, so I was stood near the door just in case. And then like the tour guide shook the dummy a little bit, and all the girls started screaming. Like I just walked out. I'm like, nah, fuck this shit. I'm out. Because I was like, and I was just like, no, I'm out. Peace. But yeah, I don't know. Kids are gullible like that. You know the whole thing about Santa. We both didn't believe it. We were both very late to the party on that one.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
Um, something questionable.
Well,
I mean,
you could.
if you want me to pull out my previous relationship, there's shitloads of
Oh
questionable
well,
things.
no. We. I mean, we both know those, and I think it's better off buried 6 feet under, unless there's something
Yeah.
funny that you don't care about. It's up to
Oh,
you, but
I don't really care about it anymore, but I don't want to necessarily talk so too much about it.
I mean
But
yeah
because I
that
don't know, it's like kind of old news. But
yeah it is it is.
um,
I think.
yeah,
Oh yeah,
uh,
so while she's having a think, the reason why we didn't stream yesterday, and I've never been a big proponent of, you know, you hear me say I don't very supernatural, but at the same time I have this kind of sorry weird gut feelings that I can't really explain, and I just act upon those gut feelings. And yesterday I woke up and was like, fuck this shit. I just like totally like, nah, this is not a day to do anything. And then I was like, oh, I have to go to the doctor's later. And then like, I didn't even bother to cancel, but lo and behold, like around 10 o'clock, doctor calls up and says, hey, yeah, well, we're gonna have to cancel your appointment. I'm busy today. I'm like, well, that's convenient. And then Natsuko calls me and says, hey, I can't do the podcast today. Well, that's convenient. So it's like, oh well, looks like I woke up the right way for today because I didn't have to do anything because it's just like I just wasn't feeling it yesterday. I was just like, you know what, I
yeah,
just
yeah,
feel like a day of rest. And
yeah,
then everyone just decided to cancel on me. I'm just like, "Mm, okay, that's good, that's cool.
yeah.
How
Did
about
you end
things?
up playing tennis?
Yeah, of course I did, because it was just
Yeah,
it wasn't much effort. I just rocked up and we just played.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But what about that? How about things that just work out? How about things that have just worked out that way without you controlling anything? Like you say, how your whole
Oh,
year, yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
well, that was when I was going through, well, I went through a breakup with my previous boyfriend, who I've been with for, I think, around 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there was always a debate, like because
I
like
remember.
some people, if you're at a dinner party or whatever, oh, so how long have you guys been together? And I'll be like 7 years, and he's like, no, 6. So yeah,
All right,
7.
so
No, 6.
I jump back to boyfriend. So now now I remember. Yeah, this boyfriend.
Yeah, my previous,
Yeah.
yeah, terrible relationship. And anyway, that's whole another story, because like this whole that year didn't count, but I'll leave it for another time. But so I was
Mm,
going through, I basically he was oh well, okay, I'll do it in short story form. So the whole, like, what that year doesn't count is when he was away for a year in Thailand, because he just really wanted to,
mm,
kind of experience like a different life in a different country and do something different. So I'm like, well, if you really want to, like, just go for it. But I just didn't see how it was gonna work out doing long distance relationship. And I thought to myself, well, if it doesn't work out, it won't work out. So we'll just see about that.
mhm,
And so we maintained, contacts and chatting on Skype, and as you would. And
mhm.
I even went there for six weeks to visit him. By
Yep.
the way, Thailand is great. Like, I'd love to go back. So
Mhm,
beautiful. But anyway, so after he came back, and after a while we settled down, like, so, like, the question pops up, and he's like saying like X years, and I'm like, no, it's like a year longer, and he keeps on saying that that year doesn't count. And so anyway, fast forward 2 years later, it turns out that he was cheating on me while he was away. and he was already booked up for another trip for 3 months in Southeast Asia, taking long service leave. So, and this is like, and at that time, like all my friends were like, "Why doesn't he take you?" So that's another different story
Yeah,
that you can
yeah.
branch off. It's like he was the kind of person who always wanted to do things on his own and traveling by himself and not really including me
Right.
in that
Like
sense.
I don't want to travel anywhere without anyone. Like this is why I'm like I'll just stay in Australia for now. You know? It's
Yeah.
like I
And so anyway, like I was going through the break. I was like, well, we're gonna have a break because there's no way I'm going to be in a relationship when you're telling me this now. And it's not like I'm pissed off because it's too late. It happened like 2 years ago, but I kind of knew it probably in the back of my head. So I think
yeah.
I was like at that time like waiting for that last one thing to kind of
The push you
tie
over the
and
edge. Yeah.
ties. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So it pushed me, and I was like, well, and we were living and sharing the apartment at the same at that time, so we're technically still living together. So I was like, well, you go away, come back, we'll talk about it, but we're not going to be in a relationship.
I
So,
feel like this is the
and
thing,
it
right?
was within the 3 month period. So coming back
Yeah.
to your question, so
Well, well,
then
well, well,
I
well
was
before
like
we.
enjoying single life, and I was like, it was such a like weight off my shoulder. And with a good friend of mine, I used to at one point I was working at a bar with her, and I became good
Mm-hmm.
friends with her. And
Mm-hmm.
then we decided like, oh, let's go to Melbourne because I just loved Melbourne. I've been there like a couple times already, and I just
Mm-hmm.
loved it. She hasn't been. Her birthday is coming up, and so we're like, yeah, let's go. And we were there for 2 weeks, and it was her birthday day. And what do you want to do? It's your day. Let's go anywhere you like. And she was like, oh, I want to go to this R&B club.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know me well, I'm not a very clubbing person. Maybe in early 20s, I was like
I've,
going to family and but
I
more
never
electronic
clubbed.
doof doofs. Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's really that's
I've been to loads of clubs.
surprising.
I hate clubs. I hate clubs.
Yeah. I
But
like
we'll
bush
talk about
stuff.
that. Well, the thing about clubs for me is like the music is shit because the speakers are too loud and so they distort all the music, right?
Yeah,
And then
that's why I like the bush stuff because you're not confined to a space and like it doesn't like ring in your ears.
yeah, the drinks are overly priced, and
Mm.
all the chicks are like super. Usually, in my experience, they're usually super like up themselves because they're like, hey, I'm all dolled up and everything. Look at me, boys. You know. So I'm like, pass.
Yeah. But anyway, I was like, oh, all right, it's your part. So I went there, and that's how I met my current partner. And so, but I was literally, there for a few more days, and we were flying back.
Mhm.
And but something worked out, and it was a very funny moment in my life where things just happened, like things just fell into the right spot, and with like it was so effortless, like it was the craziest time of my life because I met this guy and my partner, and it's not like I was really looking for a relationship because I just came out from a terrible long relationship, and I'm like, I just want to chill out for a while.
Yeah,
But then I met him, and it was like fantastic, and we really liked each other. But I was only there for like a few more days, and I was going back home in Brisbane.
yeah,
And so we had a couple more dates, and I was like, oh, probably it's not gonna work out. And I went back home, back to my daily grind. And then that weekend, I think I literally flew back in like Tuesday or Wednesday. And
mm,
then I had my shifts as usual. And then like that weekend, like Saturday, okay, I was just like I sat down and I got my friend to, review my resume and stuff like that because I kind of had a gap year and I was just doing
mm,
random jobs like in hospitality, like, waitress and working at a bar and stuff like that.
Yeah.
because previously, like, I'm coming from a fashion background, but in Brisbane, like Queensland altogether, there's not many jobs in fashion. So
Nope.
I have applied for jobs, I think, in Sydney and Melbourne in the past, but it just hasn't really worked out. And
Mm,
so I got my friend to, help with my resume, and I posted up and I applied. There were a few jobs uh, up on the market in Melbourne.
mhm,
So I was like, well, I'll just apply and see what happens, because I like and this is another side story, because like, my partner was really paranoid in the beginning. He was like, just just want to make sure that you're not moving to Melbourne because of me, like, kind of thing. But like,
yeah.
I was just at the point where I realized how
You kind of
unhappy
needed
I was.
you needed a
Like,
change. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I needed a change, and I was open to move cities, and I just wanted to start, like, get back on my career, all that.
And
And I was like,
Melbourne is the fashion
yeah,
hub of Australia, really, because like
yeah,
if you
that's
want,
too. So I was like, oh well, what, it can't hurt. So I just applied. So on Saturday I sent out my resume. I think it was Sunday. Sunday,
mhm.
I still remember it. I sent out the resume. And Monday afternoon, I was actually going for a jog, and I get a phone call, and they're like, "Can you come in for an interview tomorrow?" And I'm like, so I was like, well, I'm in the process between living in Brisbane and moving to Melbourne. So I'm actually in Brisbane at the moment, but I will be there on the weekend, so I can set up a meeting with you the following Monday. And they're
Mhm.
like, yeah, no problem. So, and then I went back to Melbourne that weekend. So it's like, oh, I thought I wouldn't see you for the rest of my life, but here I am again. So I met my partner again.
Ta-da!
It
It's
was
like
just
surprise, bitch.
funny. Surprise! And
It's like jazz hands.
um, And I had the interview on Monday. He was very kind enough to let me stay, because I'm like, wow, like I would have happily like stayed at a backpackers or hotel or whatever, because like literally, like, technically you don't know me, so like,
Yeah, I
it's
know. Like
just,
I'd be a little bit concerned. Just like, wait, this
hey,
is this.
this is a questionable thing for you. So
Fuck that shit.
before yeah, well, normally, yeah, because when I met my partner, and so we met at the club and exchanged contacts, and I couldn't hear shit anyway, so we're like, yeah, we'll like, get together and have dinner or something, and then we'll actually have a conversation. So we did. And couple of more dates after that, and as I was leaving for Brisbane, he was like, because like, also my friend decided to fly back earlier, so leaving me behind a day
Sure,
behind,
sure, sure, sure.
and she decided to fly back. So like, he was like, "Oh, you're more than welcome to stay at my place." But obviously, he's got the classic, corporate 9 to 5 jobs, like Monday to Friday. So, like, I was
I
flying back,
mean,
I think Monday or something like that. So, like, he was like, "Oh, here's the spare keys. This is the password to the Wi-Fi.
well,
Just when you leave, just leave the keys and lock yourself out." And I'm like, and I was like on my phone to my friend in Brisbane, and I was like, this guy's just leaving his stuff to me,
well,
like, it's like, um, and then he just bought the this apartment as well.
uh,
So
I mean, I knowing you, like even from like just first impression of you, that I would say, yeah, I'd let it slide. But say if
yeah,
it was,
it depends on people, but I just thought that that was the craziest thing, because even
yeah,
if I trusted that someone, just because I only met that person like few
I
days ago,
mean,
I wouldn't do it.
I
I
I
was
mean, if
impressed.
it's like if a guy does it to the opposite sex or like an interest, it's a bit
Mm.
it's a little bit more reasonable. But I mean, this is not. I mean, I don't want to be sexist or anything. This is like, can you imagine a girl doing that with a guy?
Why not?
Okay,
Why
I
not?
mean, well, it just see I'm still of the opinion that maybe if the guy's cool and everything, but like
Maybe
I'm
guys
not.
won't like that because it will be too macho for a girl to do it. I don't know.
Yeah, no, yeah, but I'm just like, how beta are you? You have to have to stay at a chick's. No, but like for me, it's more the fact that given my experience with Asian women, and that is my weak spot. But I also have a very poor choice. I have a very good choice when it comes to friends, very poor choice when it comes to relationships. So
Mm.
I'd probably have to check myself before I do that. Ah, just like, should I give this girl like my password, the keys to my house and password?
Mm.
My Wi-Fi I can change it any time, but the keys is like,
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know,
But
man.
I mean, the thing was that I was like on the phone with my friend and I told her what was happening, and she was like, "What? So this guy just like left all his things to you? Like you could be like
A crazy
you
Asian
could
chick.
yeah, and you could just literally steal everything and leave,
I mean,
in extreme case." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know it's crazy."
but that
But anyway,
There
that
also another thing is that he's European. Like they have different kind of ways of thinking compared to Australians. Because Australians are kind of like, nah,
yeah.
fuck that shit. Americans
Yeah.
be like,
Maybe we're more skeptical.
yeah, Americans be like, nah, fuck that. If you step on my lawn, I'm gonna shoot you. So, yeah, I think it's more of a European. It seems like it's more of a European thing other
Yeah,
like
maybe you're right. Yeah.
they,
But anyway, I'm sorry I got sidetracked and this is
no, I
becoming
wanted
a
to.
long story.
That's fine.
But so anyway, a week later, I'm back again and I went for the interview and then I went back to Brisbane again.
Hmm.
And then during that week on Friday, so I had the interview on Monday. I flew back immediately. And then
Hmm.
on Friday that week, they called me back and they told me that I got the job. And I was
Yeah.
so happy. And I like got really emotional, like kind of started like getting teary. And it was the most craziest time of my life because I literally broke up. It was like a bad luck charm or something, right? Like I left this terrible relationship
So
and everything, all the good things just started flowing in.
So did you? So did you like, and end your like your Japanese breaking mirrors mirrors period of life, and then suddenly everything just went back to normal or some shit?
Maybe that
I must have broke
that
a
could be
mirror.
it.
Yeah, yeah.
So
No,
yeah, like I literally met the partner of my life and then I got the job immediately and then I was moving to Melbourne like 2 weeks later. It's like I don't know, it just happened like this
mm,
and it was just like wow.
mm,
Like, things like that can happen in life.
yeah. Like, Lupita's just saying, single ladies, yay! I'm like, well, where are they? I haven't seen any lately. Well, I think it's kind of weird because this is something that's kind of weird between both of us because we always seem to be moving at the same pace. You notice that? Like me and you are always like, I'll check in with you, and you're doing something that progresses your life, and I'll be doing the same thing. It'll be this. We have these kind of points in our life where it's just like this major change, and then we're both at the same time. Like you've noticed that, like both of us like pretty much like being friends for like 10 something odd years now, and then like for example for your big breakout and how you kind of reformed your whole life and everything. For me, it was more like I also got out of a terrible relationship around about the same time you did, actually.
Yeah,
Would have been
true.
roughly the same
A
time,
bit after.
a bit after, but roughly the
Yeah,
same time, because
yeah.
I had a little bit more baggage to take care of. But then, and then I also had a really tough time for like a bit of like a few months or so, and then probably probably more about this year. It's kind of things for me, kind of like last year, I should say, kind of started falling in place because I was very focused on getting what I wanted out of life. So I started doing some online present stuff. Did a few podcasts with a couple of other random people that I just met online. I started playing tennis again. I started getting my finances into order, although they're pretty much in a mess right now. Just different things that I just wanted to get into, and then I kind of got happy just being on my own and just doing what I wanted to do and just having my freedom back because 10 years of being told that all that horrible shit that happened. So for me, I think it was the same thing. Just everything's falling into place, but a lot of stuff has to happen before it gets back to where I want it to get. But yeah, I can totally see how like sometimes you try so hard for things to fall into place and it just won't, and sometimes you do nothing and everything works out. It's weird
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
like and it was kind of weird last year because I had the running gag that every single time we talk, it's always me having an issue, right? It's always me having drama or something. Someone's
Right.
died. Someone said some shit about me. My ex-wife is being a pain in the ass or some shit, or some shit like that. My health has gone down to shit. You name it, something's always happening to me. But last year it was all about me telling Natsuko that all the crap that was happening around me instead of to me. And so it's kind of a running gag that maybe if I take the bad luck, no one else gets it. But then if I don't take the bad luck, everyone else gets it. I.e.
Nah.
COVID. But last year was actually pretty good for me because I just nothing changed for me because I decided to take a year off anyways. And so it's just like, well, I wasn't gonna do anything this year anyway, so this is just like, yeah, everyone else is gonna do the same thing as me then. But so it's kind of like I think I made the best out of an unfortunate situation, and I think I'm pretty good at doing that. Like that's probably something else that we haven't really touched on is like when shit hits the fan and things aren't working out for you, what do you think were some of your best decisions that you've made? You know what I mean? Like from like myself, I took a year off when COVID happened because I was just in no shape or form ready to kind of go out there, study, kind of find a new relationship, or try to find work, or try to really work on myself in any meaningful way.
Yeah.
But for
Yeah.
yourself, like it sounds like you already did that, but like in your what were some other situations where you're just like, man, life is shit, or this situation is shit. What did you do? What did you really think you did to get yourself out of it or improve it?
Uh, I I
Besides smoking.
probably end up going back to my previous relationship. Probably the best thing I did was to get out of it because
Pretty much.
I think it could be relationship or it could be friends that's around you, or it could be even your family members. Like who knows? It could be anyone and everyone, but like sometimes you might have like just toxic people or
Mm.
negative people who just brings you down, and it's almost like you're locked on an invisible chain, and it's just like sometimes really hard to get yourself out of the rut. But I guess like the important thing is to acknowledge the situation, so you have to admit that okay, this is happening to me,
Yeah.
and then you have to make that conscious choice. And I think that's when you actually start to move move things forward to like a better place or somewhere that you want to be.
Mhm.
But like, and it sounds really abstract, but
I mean, this is the thing, and I've been on Twitch for a while now, not just as a streamer, but like just as a user, and heavily involved myself in some smaller communities. And man, this is linking back to questionable stuff that happens online. And like some of the things that happen online is just like, I saw a girl literally break down on stream because she had a breakup with her boyfriend, and she was literally crying on stream, like full on crying on stream while trying to play a game. And I'm just like, take a break, go away. You don't need to be on
yeah,
here. And
yeah,
it kind of baffles me, and maybe because I'm more emotionally in control of myself. But like, I don't understand how people can do that. They can actually break down on stream because don't you know that maybe you should take a moment away, or is it because they want the support of all the people that are watching them, or is it maybe
maybe,
I don't know because I would never break down on stream. Like I mean, everyone has their moments and everyone gets frustrated and angry. Like if I was to get angry at something, or if some emergency happened that really distressed me, I would just say, hey, something came up. I'll catch you guys later. Like even if I had a large audience, I wouldn't be like, hey, this is what happened to me. But then that's in a way that's probably just my personality in general because I was never really someone who talked about their problems while they happened, more so just assessing what the after. You know, I was always talking. I was always, I think, always one talking what happened and how I dealt with it, and then trying to process it more than it's happening right now. You know, help me
Yeah,
please.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
like even a few days ago, like this is an interesting story, and I haven't told you this one yet. You know, I was on Twitch just searching up small little streamers and stuff, and I'm I just randomly ended up on this girl's stream, and she was like pretty young. She's like probably 18, not even that maybe. And you know, and then she was talking about how her friends, her online friends, have been really nasty to her, and like they're her best friends, but then there was this guy who's like he's from apparently that from what I understand he's from Australia, but he's like my age, our age, and like kind
Mm.
of being friends with this 18, 16, 17 year old. I don't know her exact
Ooh,
age,
ooh.
and he was for some reason being like ultra jealous or something, and then
Oh,
started making lies and shit about her to all the other people in the community. Like, oh, she diddles with kids and all this kind of weird bullshit. You know, the typical bullshit you pull on people if you want them to be cancelled. And for some reason, she's decided to still stay friends with him. Like it was her fault that they had a falling out, and I'm just like,
yeah.
mm. I
Yeah,
mean,
and that's a problem. That's a very common problem in relationships because I was in
oh,
that
hey
place
Spence,
previously.
yeah,
So, and sometimes it's hard because if you don't know any better, like in some situations, you think it's normal.
yeah,
And yes, I was in a place where to the point because my boyfriend at the time used to tell me all these things and
oh, I
saying
remember this one.
stuff like that. Oh, I don't even want to, you should be more outgoing. I know you can be, and go out to parties and just meet new people and make lots of friends. And I'm like, I'm not like that. I told you that. And
Yeah,
then
yeah,
he
yeah.
was like, sometimes to the point that where like, he said like he used to say along the line of like, oh, I don't really want to take you out and introduce you to my circle of friends or network because I just feel like you won't be able to hold a situation or you're antisocial or you don't say anything or
See,
blah blah blah.
that's
And I was like literally to the point that I started to think that okay, shit, there is something wrong with me. What's wrong with me? But I'm not doing anything
that's what we
wrong.
call gaslighting. Like you're doubting yourself.
And and it's like and then it's really hard to recognize like when you're in the situation, like sometimes you get blinded by it and
Exactly,
it's really
exactly.
hard to step back and look at the situation on in a
See,
bird's eye perspective. So
this is
it's
why
really
when
hard sometimes, and a lot of people make the wrong choices of keeping
that
certain people around their circle, yet they make them feel shit.
yeah, it's based around the people they hang around because like if in your case, if it's your boyfriend telling you that you're a piece of shit and you don't have anyone else to tell you otherwise, you got to believe it because you're under the impression that that boyfriend cares for you, right? You have that.
Mm.
Well, he wouldn't say that just to be mean, and that's the
Yeah,
trap that
yeah.
a lot of people fall into. Is like, they surround themselves with certain people, but they don't have any other people outside of that group. And for
Mm.
me, I've always been someone who's always made friends with lots of different people, like Spence, who just joined the chat. But hi, Spence. But like for
Hello.
me, I like talking to different people because it gives me different perspectives. And if I explain the situation the same way to like five different people, I'm going to get five different answers. And for whatever answer I get, I can kind of determine whether what I did was right or whether it's justifiable to feel this way. And I think I've always done that with you guys because in my circle of friends, not particularly yours, but like all my friends, every single one of you are completely different, right? Like yeah, I talk to you and I talk to one of my another mutual friend and two other friends from high school, right? And to a lesser extent, my Korean friend. And so yeah, and so when I get opinions of them, I'm like they're all from different kind of backgrounds, so I can understand. Okay, this is how I feel. Maybe this is not the right way to feel, or maybe I should be. I'm not feeling it enough. That for a lot of people, yeah, it's just like if their only group is the one that's causing them trouble, it's very difficult for them to separate it because they're in this little bubble that they have. But like, yeah, I totally understand that. But it was just more of a sociological explanation of what you were going through. But yeah, I think it's so fascinating to me that online personalities like have like rampant breakdowns online. It is such a weird thing for me. Like, like I actually had an emergency happen on stream one time, and that was because um I had an argument with my ex-wife about the children, and I was just like, "Fuck this shit! I'm just gonna take my youngest back over here, and just let me the end of it. I don't want to argue about parenting or anything because it's like 11 o'clock at night." So it was like in the middle of one of my streams. So I'm just like, "Hey guys, I got something that turned up. I got to end the stream. See you later." Just I didn't go on and say, "Oh my god, what I'm gonna do? Oh, my ex-wife is causing me shit and pain and all this stuff." It's like, no, just be an adult. Step away from the vehicle. Just go handle your shit. I just don't understand how people can just go, "Hey, so this happened to me today. Oh my god, my Instagram friends cancelled me," or some shit like that. I don't know. But yeah, I mean that's probably my biggest pet peeve and most questionable thing that people have done online is just bringing their personal drama online when it's not necessary. That is the most that thing pisses me off so much. But yeah. Sorry, I just went on a tangent there. But yeah,
And
um, yeah, you know me. I'm always ranting. But yeah, I mean, so yeah, we kind of covered like the fact that there are times when the opposite has happened, that things have kind of fallen into place when we've done absolutely nothing. But have you had any like horror stories of people like this fucking up terribly in their life? I mean, I have one, but we both know that one. But I won't tell that here, not yet, anyways. But like any people that are
I
just
don't
like,
have any other story that can top that.
oh, well, you have to build up to it. I just can't go out with that, How
No,
about you?
no, no, I'm not forcing you or
No, 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 no.
have
I,
to,
I, I might, but I'll think about it. But yeah, um,
but
like how about some friends? Like maybe they did something kind of weird or something like that. Like yeah. I mean, there was a couple of stories that you had that were just relationship bound and stuff like that. But while we wait, I think. Well, what about you guys? Like, it's like stuff that maybe your friends have done that's a little bit stupid. Get caught by the police for doing something stupid, or maybe didn't think about their decisions before jumping into something. Like, me every single time I do postgraduate studies, it seems to not work out very well. But yeah, like I don't know, like I guess mm, I guess some of the things that I've seen is just like people are so oblivious, and sometimes they're so convinced that they're right that they just can't say anything else. And I think I've met a lot of people like that. I don't know about you. They seem to be they're quite sure of themselves when they make decisions, and it seems to blow up in their face a lot. But yeah, I think
not so much,
just sort of
but more in a sense, just being stubborn and can only look look at things in one direction kind of thing. No matter how hard you try to explain them
oblivious and lost.
an alternative version or alternative option, it's like a definite no. Like,
Yeah,
no, this is my way and I'm gonna do it this way. And I'm like,
yeah. Like my dad, he's the migration agent. Will not touch type. He will sit there like he's an old man, which he actually is, finger typing. Like,
oh
and
no.
we're talking like thousands of words in a document. I'm just like, Dad, you're already old. You're gonna get arthritis doing that shit. And like, oh, sorry, just an aside. But yeah, just I think, and I think some of the things, like for example, like the way that I think we've touched on this before, but the way that people perceive me in Vietnam is kind of funny because
Yeah.
they all think I'm some kind of rich like highballer, but like I'm over here like unemployed and shit, and I just go back to Vietnam. Everyone's like, "Hey, shout us this." I'm like, "I don't have the fucking money for it." But yeah, like oh,
Why is that? Is it
uh,
from the way you dress or that fact
it's
that
just
you're from Australia?
the fact that I'm not from Vietnam because the
Nah.
economy is over there is pretty garbage compared to everywhere else. Like strength wise, it's not very good. But yeah, yeah. So Spence says that's about wraps up everyday life, oblivious and lost. I mean, yeah. Oh dear, but yeah, I don't know. Like for now, I think our plan for this year is just keep on trudging. Probably get some more ideas to talk about. You know, as things go on. I know things are changing a lot around the world right now. Like, you know, again, not to get too political, but yeah, things are gonna look really weird. And for us, it's kind of like what do, what do we want out of this year? And I guess I think Natsuko is just plodding on. She's got a lot of projects on the line, like
Yeah.
a few of her personal projects too. For myself, I might actually start streaming a different game, but I just hardly have any time to stream anyways. But you know, there's a couple of things I wanted to do, and yeah, I am trying to get back into university, so I probably won't have as big of an online presence anymore. But I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe that's may not be a wise decision because what I plan to do is international relations, and in the nature of the world at the moment, not only is travel dangerous, but the political like politics, like how every country is going at the moment, is not so stable. I don't know if that's a good line of work to get into, but you know, I've always been interested in that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
uh, so you know, so I think you had a few things like planned. Oh,
Well,
wait,
what will be your backup?
I don't have a backup. I don't need one. My backup is just do nothing and just wait for the rest of the year to pan out, and then
But
bank.
weren't you the one saying they always have a backup plan?
Well, my backup plan is just is what I'm doing right now, and I know I
Yeah.
can go back to it. So, you know, it's not like I'm going. See, for me, if I start like a career path right now with where I'm not happy, then I don't have a backup plan because pretty much as soon as I lose my employment, then I lose everything that I built up. I can't sustain myself without if I decide to quit or whatever. But yeah, I guess I don't really have a backup plan for this year except for falling back on what I have at the moment, which is I've built enough to just keep myself safe. But yourself, I like you know you've got a few big projects online. You know, can we see
Yeah.
any? Yeah.
Can we?
But wait,
Can you
well,
see any?
uh, uh, what was the? You had a couple of notes for some subjects because I have no idea what we're supposed to talk about next week. Maybe you
Oh,
want,
next week.
yeah, or maybe a
Well,
couple. We
if
can touch.
we have some audience at the moment, we can ask them, what do you guys like us to talk about? Something about Japan or something about Australia or Vietnam? I'm bringing up my
Yeah,
note.
because my brain's drawing a blank at the moment because I can't remember because I think I've heard it once. Oh dear. But yeah, I mean,
We
thank you
had
for joining.
religion and rituals,
That's gonna be a touch and go one.
food. On a light note, we can just talk about food.
Mm, uh, oh yeah,
We
well, while you check that, that's a pet peeve of mine. Again, I've said this before, right? Vegans. I understand the whole idea of veganism. I understand that you guys don't want to like damage the world and everything like that. But you have to understand the output of food shouldn't be tied to just if you're really concerned about the welfare of the earth, then inevitably you're gonna have to kind of get away from the whole life and death because the thing is like say to grow veggies and only veggies can be more damaging to the earth than just you know some forms of meat and fish and whatever, right? Because it takes so much fertilizer, it takes so much area of land, you have to clear land and all that kind of stuff. And so if you're really conscientious about saving the earth, you'd eat bugs, you would eat insects, you know.
Yeah. Well, apparently that's going to be the next thing for a
Yeah,
source of protein.
yeah, crickets.
But yeah, yeah, or grown your own veggies. Seriously.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be another thing as well. Uh, food. I think we've had a pretty extensive chat about food. Was there anything specific you wanted to check?
No, not really. Do we have any suggestions?
Well,
Mm,
I mean, besides the Peter talking about Mexican food,
mm, I
yeah,
love Mexico.
I haven't had tacos for a while, but then again, tacos over here aren't really
I need
tacos.
a good recipe. I keep on like, chucking cans of tomatoes and beans and purple onions and garlic and oh yeah, a little cumin, paprika. Yeah, kind of looks like
Yeah,
it. I'm
just
like,
chuck it
I'm
in.
not sure this is really Mexican, but it's like pseudo Mexican. I'm like,
It's like Tex-Mex, yeah.
yeah.
What was it? What were the other stuff you had on the list? It was
Then it will be more heavy political shit, like what it was like to date a foreigner in World War II and stuff like that.
oh
But
yeah,
maybe can
that's
we do some like funny stuff and just talk
I,
shit?
well,
I feel like we've been too serious the last
what do
few
you mean?
episodes.
What do you mean? Why the fuck are you asking me? It's your podcast. Fucking.
It's our idea.
well, it's your
Yes,
no.
maybe it might be my idea, but
No,
then
Cole.
you're part of it too.
Well, yeah, okay. So Lupita started asking like, what about some culture shock moments? I think we've
Yeah.
talked a few. I think we talked a few about a few things.
Yeah, but we can do that again.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just tell this story again if anyone hasn't heard it. But back in the day, I used to live in a country town with all white people. Seriously, 10,000 white faces in a country town where there are like moo cows and
Mm.
sheep and all that kind of shit, right? And but I used to travel back and forth to Brisbane, and when I every single time I traveled to Brisbane, we'd go to an ethnic area which I'm living in right now, which is all Vietnamese people. And so I remember one day, having lived in well, stayed in Brisbane for like 2 weeks, and then I went back home to where I lived. I looked around. I'm like, where the fuck are all the Asian people? Oh wait, because I was just like, wait, I just pretty much moved back to the countryside where there's like no Asian people. So that was
Yeah.
probably my definitive culture shock moment where I'm just like, wait a minute, you know. But I don't know. What about you? Was like the I think your culture shock moment was actually the reverse, wasn't it? It was just like going back to Japan.
Yeah, 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 that's definitely one thing. I mean, Canada was another thing too,
Oh, the big
but being
turkey.
with a French partner, that's another thing as well.
How are
Um,
you keeping so skinny when he fucking brings out bread and cheese after every dinner?
oh well, I don't really have, I can't have dairy, so
Oh,
I
that's
don't.
true.
Yeah, and I can't really have gluten, so I don't eat bread either.
So it's
Although
just
I
him.
do,
So it's
but
just him. It's just him chomping on bread rolls with with some cheese on the side.
yeah, he's skinny. Like it's just like
Yeah, I
French
know.
people. There are a lot of them are just like skinny, and they, yeah, it's like, how do you guys do
How the
that?
fuck?
Yeah,
Like, look at me.
yeah.
I play tennis every single day, and I look like a tank. Oh, jeez. Like some people are just lucky. I've probably ruined my metabolism anyways. Maybe I'm
But
just
they
getting
reckon, like they say that French people they don't snack in between, like Australia.
I don't snack either, but I'll probably overeat.
Mm. And they
What?
stick to the time.
Hmm. Yes, true. Apparently, not only is it bad for you to eat late, but you have trouble sleeping when you eat late.
Well, yeah, because
Apparently.
your body is like, working hard to digest the food, so it kind of makes sense.
I mean, here's a what's your go-to comfort food? Have I asked you that yet? I don't think so.
Mm.
Yeah, that's a good one. And you
It
two in the
depends on
chat.
like if I was sick in the gut, like,
Mhm.
because you know me, I used to eat everything and everything. I was fine, and
Yeah.
I had the food sensitivity test, and it's like when I got really sick, when I
Hmm.
was still working in my previous job, and
Hmm.
and long story short, it turns out that I'm sensitive to gluten, I'm sensitive to dairy, I can't have eggs, I'm sensitive to mollusks and crustaceans and string
So
beans.
so apparently you've just been forced into veganism.
Well, basically that's why I'm eating, let's say, vegetarian, because I do sometimes eat meat, but like, if I want to really felt like protein, I'll have like fish or something. I'm
so
completely
press
fine with meat, but then I'm environmentally conscious as well. So I really steer away from like beef and pork and chicken and things like that.
Yeah, I think it's
But
called it's yeah.
my comfort food would be pumpkin soup.
Ooh, really? That's a quite a Western thing. Like not me.
Yeah.
I was
I
expecting
feel
miso.
like I feel like pumpkins like roasted pumpkins or pumpkin soup because I feel like that's like the nicest in my stomach. It just like sits inside very nicely. So I usually go for a pumpkin when I just don't feel quite right in my gut. And or if I was sad and depressed or something like that, maybe it's a different food.
Hmm. Whenever this sounds terrible, but there's a bit of a backstory to it. But when I feel sick or when I'm studying like really hard out and I'm like not sleeping well, fucking KFC. I think the reason was because that was the only takeout place we had in the country. We didn't have McDonald's, we didn't have Pizza Hut, we didn't have all that kind of stuff.
You know what? I haven't had this in years because this is like the moment when I got like about like eco-conscious and I stopped having instant noodles because they use a lot of palm oil, and I'm
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah,
oh, I don't really want to contribute to like palm
yeah.
field
Palm
like
destruction. Yeah.
deforestation and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna try and avoid instant noodle. Oh, so hard because I love it. But you know what? The comfort food, shin ramen. Honestly,
Yes,
dead set
yes.
shin
The ver-
ramen or maybe mee goreng. But when I was a student, I
yeah,
just
both.
mostly lived off that. But shin
I
ramen
still,
is
I
a
still,
moment.
I still live off that.
I even thinking about it now, I'm like, I want it.
So, sorry, my ideal mee goreng is you cook the pasta you cook the noodles al dente so they still got a little bit of texture in them, and then you mix everything together and then you put an egg on it
Yeah,
like a sunny side egg.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Oh, so good. It's making me hungry. Um, and what else? If I'm sick, like I haven't been sick in a while, but like when I have like fever sick, like when I
Hmm.
have a fever and your body's tired and you're dehydrated,
Yeah.
Coca-Cola.
Oh, I drink that on a daily. So I
Oh
probably should stop.
God. Yeah, you should
No.
stop.
No. So yeah. So the thing. Uh, decided to be environmental conscious. Well, okay, that's a good point. So there's two things here. So Lapita said that have you ever tried a thing called I think it's marucha. I'll have a look on. I'll have a look on
Marucha. No,
Maru,
what's that?
Maru, images. Yeah, that's what I thought.
What is it?
Uh, I think it's a meat dish of some sort. Oh, it's kind of like a steak. It looks like a steak. Yeah, no, that's another comfort food. Yeah, kind of like I think it's a. It's, oh no! Unless you're talking about the unless you're talking about noodle, ramen flavored ones. And Spence says if 7 billion people in the world all decided to be environmentally conscious, that would still only subtract 50% of our emissions output. So like
Yeah.
yeah, that's that I can't agree
Yeah,
with that.
only so much with the food. It's almost like the whole world needs to stop like
No,
oil and gas.
pretty much because it's not even the whole world. It's just the corporations need to stop
Yeah,
overly
if they
polluting
could
everything.
stop that, I think that'll make a big difference.
Yeah, that, no.
But food,
It's,
there's only so much.
yeah, I mean that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like I've never really been a big proponent of like being vegetarian or whatever. Like I don't really care. I mean, obviously I'm against like inhumane treatment of. It's pretty weird how we say inhumane treatment of animals. So shouldn't there be like a subclass for that? But anyways, that's beside the point. Oh, it's more the point of like just so long as you don't waste food, it's fine.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know what? So what's Maricha? How do you spell it?
Okay, I'll put it. You're not in chat, are you? I will put it in the Discord.
Okay.
Uh,
I'll have a look. But you know what's great? Jackfruit.
yeah. Oh,
They literally taste like meat.
yeah. I've only had the sweet
Like
jackfruit,
if
but
it's
actually,
like
I
flavored.
only have this because
The
we
texture
we
is like amazing. It tastes like it feels like it's meat.
yeah. I think
Crazy.
because we have a jackfruit tree at my ex's house, so we actually
Oh,
have fresh jackfruit.
really?
Yeah, yeah. Uh,
Not believe that. Yeah,
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I
that's
mean
what it's called.
it looks like a steak dish. Yeah, jackfruit. I don't mind jackfruit. It's more of a sweet thing for me because I just like the jackfruit
Ah,
naturally.
it's not Marucha. Maruchan? Is it
Well, that's
Maruchan? Ramen?
yeah. Well, if there's two things, there's a ramen and there's also the actual meat itself. Yeah,
Oh my god. Don't.
there's two of them. I know. I
Don't.
can see the ramen. I can see the ramen. Yeah.
I miss ramen.
and Lapita's asking, when are you gonna actually stream? Hey, when are you actually gonna do your stream?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Soon. Soon.
Maruchan. Yeah, Maruchan is like
So bad.
a ramen. I'm really sure something else. Yeah. That's what you
Mm.
typed then. I just copied and pasted it in the search. yes, but yes, ramen noodles.
So
Have you ever
maybe I. Huh?
have you ever had cheesy ramen? Like it's a big European thing.
Ew, yuck.
Really? Yeah, I don't. I never liked it as well because
I
I
don't
know
know. In
the
ramen?
well like instant ramen. Like Spencer's asking, is there any a gluten free instant ramen? But isn't that just
Yeah,
noodles in general?
there is. Yeah, there is. Yeah.
But it'd be like
I
super
never
expensive.
tried to be honest. No, not that expensive, I don't think. But yeah, there is. I mean,
Mm.
there's like gluten-free pasta and they're great
Oh,
as
that's true.
well. So I haven't had much problem with like in terms of noodles, like you have rice noodles and stuff like that. It's just the instant noodle. Like I never tried the
Oh,
instant gluten-free noodles. Maybe I should try because I just my brain is so fixated with shin ramen and it just tastes like the bomb. I don't want to try anything else. Like I'm not interested. I just want shin
well,
ramen, you know what I'm saying?
well, I mean, what you could do is you get the flavor packet, and then you could use it with the instant the normal things. I mean, that's a workaround, right? You're like,
I'll try. I'll try the gluten free one and see. Maybe I'll stream like a taste taster.
oh, fucking mukbang. Oh no, I don't want to see that shit. Like ASMR slurping and shit from the oh god. Yeah, the Peter says she's studying industrial design. That's what she's asking.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah. So yeah,
Industrial
she's
design.
so. What would that entail exactly? Because I think Natsuka's doing
Yeah.
something similar, and she's got a project come along that's something similar to that, which I won't go too much into, but
But when you say industrial design, that could be anything from machine to equipment and like
mm,
building blocks and stuff like that, isn't it?
it's more. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm asking. but yeah, I mean, that's cheap. You just get the flavor packets, and you can put whatever you want on it. I mean, that's all it is really. I mean, if you really wanted to be all fancy and shit, just find the ingredients yourself and make your own spice mix. It's not that hard
Yeah, no, it's not that hard.
because it's pretty much just a lot
Mm.
of chili powder, isn't it? Because it's just that's Shin Ramen
Hey,
you, right?
Calvin, if I actually streamed like a taste tester
No, fuck off.
with like five different instant noodles, I have a good excuse to eat instant noodles.
But then you'll feel like shit afterwards because most of them will be like gluten anyway.
Oh yeah, true.
Just like, and then you have to film the aftermath of you being sick afterwards.
Yeah.
Oh no! Do not do a mukbang stream, please. Dear God. I mean, well, actually, no. That's your business. I just want to watch. But yeah, she is in the process of being able to stream. I think she's still getting. I think it was cameras ready, so you can because if you don't know,
Yeah, I need to get the cameras ready because basically what I want to do is stream while I'm sewing or drawing or something like that. So at the moment I'm using my laptop camera for my
and
face, but I'll
and she's
definitely
got
need an
shit.
external camera to have it above my hand so people can see what I'm exactly doing, but then have a camera like to my face as well at the same time.
Yeah, and also her internet's questionable
Yeah,
at best.
I'm waiting for NBN. I'm almost there.
Yeah, because NBN is like kind of like a better version of ADSL2 here. It's not. It's like
Mm.
around about 100 bit. So it's not the best, but it's better than what we had. But yeah, she's been dealing with pretty much shitty internet slash using 4G for the last while.
Yeah, yeah, really bad. Yeah, it
Oh.
fluctuates.
So, would you say that's the thing you miss the most? Having now changed your diet?
Uh, mm, like I can still eat it. It's just that if I eat too much of it, I know I'm gonna get sick. But it's like almost like trial and error because I've been so much I'm so much better off than what I was when I first got sick. Like I would just react to anything, like just the fact that I ate something, I would react because I was so sick. But now I can eat a little bit if I wanted to, but yes, if I just like if I was very restricted, I mean, bread, bread. Honestly, bread. I
Uh,
miss the normal bread because I mean I can bake a pretty good gluten-free bread, which I'm completely happy with, but it's just not the same.
it doesn't have the nice fluffy white texture of the
And
crust.
the sponge cake, it's so fluffy. But I need to experiment a little bit more because there's like substitute of eggs like by using
Just
aquafiber and stuff like that.
just egg and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a, yeah.
so I don't want to really use too much chemicals. So my friend is her family is quite vegan, and
Mm,
they have some tips and tricks in like baking because baking gluten free is so hard.
yeah, because
Um,
the gluten makes it rise and make it a bit flat, a bit more fluffier.
Yeah, so yeah, apparently you can make your own like what aquafaba or whatever it's called
That's
using the water from chickpea, like the
chickpea water. Yeah,
canned
chickpea.
yeah
I know.
chickpea, and then you just like and then
I think you
apparently
put something and then blend it. It becomes yeah.
yeah. So I should try that. But anyway,
Yeah, I mean, so like there's something. What about a food that you
ramen,
miss?
ramen,
Ramen, obviously.
takoyaki, okonomiyaki,
Yes,
all
yes.
the gluten, um,
So ramen being soup,
yumminess.
takoyaki being like is that octopus balls?
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
and the
because
third,
it's yeah, all
it's
the mixture is basically wheat,
yeah,
you know.
and the third one is kind of like it's a grilled noodle kind of thing. It's really good because like
No,
off the
okonomiyaki is more like a pancake.
yeah, oh
So
yeah,
there's
pancake, yeah,
there's
pancake
different
noodles and stuff. Yeah,
styles because like some regions they put noodles inside as well. So it's very different from like the Kanto region, so around Tokyo compared to um Kansai, which is Osaka and
but
Kyoto.
what it
They have
think of it
styles.
as like an Asian version of like chicken and waffles or chicken and pancakes. That's how I remember it.
Yeah, sometimes you can put seafood
I had a beef on it. It's really good.
mm,
Like yeah,
or
yeah. There's a really good place out of Garden City that does a nice one. Yeah,
yeah.
I kind of miss that food too. But what about okay? What about besides that? What about in general food that you haven't had for a while that you really miss? I don't know you've been craving ramen at the moment.
Korean food.
Oh yeah, remember we used to go and eat Korean food all the time. Korean barbecue.
Bulgogi, the bibimbap. I just love their flavoring.
I think
Yeah.
because of lockdown, I really miss eating just at the local. It's called Little Lamb, but it's like skew like Sichuan style skewered meats and
Ooh.
stuff. Yeah,
Mm.
and I as well. I haven't really had a good ramen either because I don't really consider Hikataka ramen or whatever the chain store is.
Hakataya?
Yeah,
Yeah. I've tried every now and again. I will try different like ramen places in Melbourne as well. Even though
yeah,
they have like a decent rating, I actually go there and try, and I'm like, no, it's just no.
no,
It's not like what you have in Japan. It's just like not the same. It's
yeah.
not good
I
enough.
mean, is that really normal to have like char siu with like I thought that was a bit weird.
Yeah.
Heavy. Yeah, it is. But like just
Not like
alone.
the one with the pink edges. Like it's just like a solid like pork. like slice. Yes,
Yeah.
you have that chashu ramen. So
Mm,
you have a slice of pork with, the spring onions and bean sprouts, and you might have other vegetables. But yeah,
mm.
just like that.
Because
And usually an egg.
yeah, because over
That's
here
good.
it's very basic. It's just like they give you noodles, the broth, and maybe a couple of slices of char siu. I'm just like, really? That's like $13.
Yeah, I know, right? Because for something like that, that's like super basic option in Japan. Like, yes, it
Exactly.
can come in like that, but it won't be $13.
Yeah.
It
It's
will be
like
like
going
probably like $5 or something like that.
yeah, it's like going to a pho place and just getting I'll just get the sliced meat and nothing else, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Because like when you have a bowl of pho, it's got like all these other things like it
mm,
sounds terrible, but trust me, it's much better. You have tendons, you have ox tripe, you have meatballs, you have even blood pudding in there sometimes, and so there's lots of different flavors in there. But like if you get the basic shit, it's just like it's literally sliced boiled shoulder meat. Like just it's not even like ribeye, it's just like shoulder the kind of tougher meats, but they just slice it really thin, and you just put it in the
yeah,
water and boil it. So yeah,
yeah.
for me, it's the same thing with me. Like it's, I think pho they do all right in Australia, but like other things like the more kind of the more kind of like niche stuff they kind of miss out
Yeah.
because we have a version of pancakes as well, and it's quite hard to find good ones because the ingredient list is so expensive here because like it includes pork belly
Mhm.
and prawns or shrimp. It's just
Okay.
like, and seafood here is insanely expensive, and pork belly is
Mm,
also insanely expensive. So it's just like you won't be able to get a good one unless you do it at home.
yeah.
Have you actually cooked ramen at home? Because I know it's quite common for people like Vietnamese people to cook
I
pho.
tried, but I don't know, maybe this is why it just seems to be so hard to find a good ramen store because it's all in the soup. I think the rest of the
Yes,
ingredients are pretty straightforward, but it's the broth and to get that flavor
some
right is like enormous work. And like, you can be cooking for like 2 days for
yeah,
that.
if 2 or 3 days, yeah, because
I
the broth.
tried I tried before, long time ago in Brisbane, and I was just like, making a pork broth.
Mhm.
It was still good, but then it didn't taste like ramen. So I think, yeah, I need to. If I get some time, I think I'd like to experiment a little bit on that because I love cooking anyway. But yeah, like you probably have to cook with some vegetables as well
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
start.
Some cabbage and stuff like that to give it
Yeah,
the
spring
extra sweetness.
onions with the bones and
And roasted onions. Yeah, because for me,
mince.
like
Yeah.
my ex wife used to cook pho at home, but like then
Mm.
sometimes she still gives me the food. I mean, just an aside, she's been like extra nice to me as of late, and it's kind of scaring me. It's like, you want some dinner? I'll bring some dinner over. Like, what the fuck? No, go away. But yeah, and a couple of chats that said like, oh, Lupita says that she'd love to have a good ramen, but like, I don't know how I don't know how well the ramen would be in Mexico. That's another thing. Like, how weird is it? Like, because every single culture that you go to, every single society, they have their own like little like national twist on it. Like in Australia, pho works out really well because we have Australian grade beef, right? And so the flavor is so much more intense than over in Vietnam, but then we bastardize everything else. Like as I said, I don't I eat almost everything with barbecue sauce. And so what about you? Have you do you find that the tastings of Japanese food is more westernized in Australia, or just like crappier quality?
No, like there's some really good Japanese restaurants in Melbourne that I can recommend. But yeah, just ramen. I
You
don't
can't get it
know.
right. They can't get it right. Yeah.
It's just not right. Or I haven't been to the good one. Um, but yeah, no, Japanese food, it's pretty good.
I think
Um,
sushi is comparable. Although I said maybe the seafood's probably not as good though. Some of the seafood's not sourced as well as Japan.
yeah, I mean the selection for seafood I think will be limited compared to Japan, because like when it comes to sushi, like the basic that you'll have here will be the salmon, tuna,
Mm-hmm.
kingfish, if you're fortunate,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. Oh,
Or
you
prawn.
rarely get octopus.
Yeah.
It's very rare to get a squid as well.
Yes.
Um, and the
Scallops
raw
are pretty common.
prawns, and then you will have like a mussel, but it's not like the mussel that you see here, not the black shell orange one. It's a different type of mussels, and you have that on sushi as well, and just and
Uh,
tarako. Oh yes, I miss tarako. That's something that I miss
translate.
so much, because if
Translate.
I go to an Asian
Translate.
yeah, I know, I'll get to it, be patient. um if you go to Asian supermarket, it only comes in like a frozen one,
Oh
and
yeah,
it's
that's the rubbish stuff.
ridiculously expensive. And ikura, oh, I really miss that. So I will translate it for you. Tarako
Okay. So
is like
while you do that, so
so
before the pandemic, I took
pollock.
a friend.
It's a pollock roe.
Oh yeah, yeah, I know tarako. Yeah, it's like it's eggs, fish eggs of a
Yeah,
specific fish.
and ikura is I think salmon roe.
Seven row.
Yeah.
Oh, ikara. Yeah. So
Yeah.
so before the pandemic, I took a friend from out of town to a famous LA hot dog and hamburger joint stand. She
Mm.
asked them, how are your burritos?" To a hot dog stand.
Oh my god.
That would have been funny. It's like it'd
Yeah.
be like going. But this is the thing, like the most kind of bastardized thing in every single Viet restaurant is like the fucking spring rolls. Like, why? But I mean, that's even in Japanese restaurants. They sell spring rolls. I'm like, what the fuck is a spring roll doing in a Japanese restaurant?
Yeah, exactly right.
And like the strangest sushi I've ever seen was like legit Peking duck sushi in Sunnybank. And I'm like, the fuck?
Wow.
That's just like
Yeah.
rice.
Fusion.
It's just like rice with a piece of Peking duck on it. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Complete
Uh,
fusion.
what about some strange fusions that you've seen?
Well, the
Like,
first thing that I probably mentioned to you already, but it was the California roll when I
oh
first
yeah,
got
yeah,
to
yeah.
Australia.
That's
I'm
pretty.
like,
That's pretty regular.
and to have avocado in the sushi? What?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's
you know, I was like, what the fuck? Like, yeah.
yeah.
Looking at the options at what was it called, Kanaichi or something like
Hikatan.
that.
Um, yeah. I think for me the strangest thing is like sweet chili sauce with spring rolls.
Oh
Because like
yeah.
they always have sweet chili sauce. I mean, it's not bad. It's just like it's strange for me because it's just like, and the spring rolls. I hate vegetable spring rolls. Oh my god, what the fuck were you thinking when you made that? It's just like fried. It's like there's no texture left in the spring rolls. Because like the thing about the spring rolls, you either have a very meaty chew to it, or you have.
Mm,
But then when you eat into the vegetarian spring rolls, they're just
mm,
mush.
yeah.
It's like, have you ever had a chico roll? No.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it's like a fried version of that. It's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah, no, but I know what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like other things that they kind of make more Western. Like I just find it strange that like a lot of like say ethnic restaurants, be it Vietnamese or
But
Japanese.
even look at Macca's. Like we have teriyaki Mac burger in Japan. That was my favorite. That was my go-to.
Ah,
I had that like all the time. It's great.
see,
I kind of
see
miss it.
for me for Macca's, my favorite is the McOz. And all it is just like a basic burger in McDonald's style, but it has beetroot on it.
Okay.
It tastes pretty good. But like yeah, like there's really strange like takeaway foods over. Yeah, in Japan's really famous for making some really weird backer stuff. Like did they
Yeah.
had like they had like special pies that are made like in like I think it was taro filling or something like that. I can't remember. Or like yeah, and all these kind of different kind of McDonald's things. That reminds me. There's this really weird ass ad for McDonald's from Japan,
Hmm.
and you guys should see it in your own time. But like, it's like they've had this really like dolled up like like guy and girl, and like they're kind of like a USA kind of like American style, but they're like full on like top model. I think I can find it right now. Like it's really kind of weird. McDonald's. Oh, run, run, run. That's also not. Yeah, McDonald's memes in Japan are just wild. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I need to do that. So we'll end off with this. I'll show you this photo and then we might wrap it up because I have to go soon too.
Yeah.
McDonald's Japan models images.
What is it?
Yeah.
McDonald's.
Mac- McDonald's McDonald's Japan and their models. Okay. Here we go. This is a good photo. So this is I'm gonna click on this and then I'll show the screen before before we sign out and say goodbye. What? I want to see that. No, no, I don't want to see that. Here we go. It's kind of pixelated, but it'll do. I will put that. Where are we? Jesus, it's a lot of stuff to look through. But give me a. Oh, here we go. Okay, so yeah. Oh yeah, I can just do a screen. I can just do a screen share, and so people can see it quite quickly, and then we
Oh,
might
is
wrap
this
it up.
like the dude with like red hair and shit?
Yeah, yeah,
It's weird.
yeah. Give it. Let me just switch over the scenes for a sec, and I will add display capture. Sure, display two. Ooh, okay. Just very quickly. So yeah, so the models you can see here. This is a Japanese campaign. And so it's like why though? And I'm just
I'm
showing
just
showing.
watching it on YouTube.
Yeah, and it's just ultra weird. Like, see there, they had a campaign with these two as they speak the models. You know, it's like creepy but somewhat
Ah,
attractive
it's creepy.
redhead.
That's weird.
But yeah, I'll switch back. So yeah, McDonald's. Mmm. But yeah, anyways,
375 yen? It's like $3.
well, actually, it's similar to well, no, McDonald's in Australia is really expensive. Anyways, we've bullshitted for quite a while.
Yeah.
We managed to drag through. Yeah, I know,
Yeah.
right? I know.
What?
Lupita's just like the fuck. Yeah, yeah, it's weird. There's even a kind of YouTube ad where they have Ronald McDonald singing some weird tune. Run, run, rule.
Scary.
It looks like fucking Chucky who's just like grown up and then got ultra skinny. Like seriously, I'll put that in. I'll put that. Yeah, have a look at it. It's like a run, run, rule. Yeah, Japan. This is the weirdness of Japan. Like maybe next week we can probably go. Well, what's the weirdest Japanese things you've seen? You can talk
Oh,
about that if
yes.
we remember things. Yeah. Run, run, rule. Okay. Well, anyways, while I do this, how about you sign out and address the people while I quickly do this. All right. So why don't you wrap it up then?
Yeah, so thanks guys for joining us today. And thank you for enduring our shit talk and rants. But yeah, I guess next week we will talk about, well, we'll aim for Thursday first thing.
Ah.
And no,
No,
what? No?
we'll see what happens. Okay, we'll see
But
what
we'll
happens.
see,
Like,
we'll let you know. But I
I'll,
guess we'll be talking about, well, I guess I'll be talking about the strangest things I've seen in my country. And the
oh
reason
yeah,
why I became an Australian. I ditched my own country.
Traitor. We can leave that to we can actually talk about that too. We can talk about the war wives, right?
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we
Well, we'll see
can.
what
Yeah.
happens. I mean, we've gotten to the point where like, fuck it, we'll just talk about everything. Oh, hey, sorry about that. We're about to end the stream, but you could always catch us. You could always catch us at the on my my Twitch channel and at QQ from AU, or you can go to YouTube and watch the questionable outcomes, and you can always rewatch the episode there. We've also got, believe it or not, another 10 episodes that you can go through in your own time, and they're all uploaded on YouTube. And
Yeah.
hopefully next week we'll, because it's been a bit of a hectic week for us, we'll have
Yeah.
some more interesting stuff to come. But we always love some interactions because we love
Yeah.
bullshitting. We love
Yes.
bullshitting, and if you guys give us ideas, we kind of run with
And
it.
Kelvin, it will be good if you could share the screen because I don't see the comments, so I don't
Well,
really know what everyone's saying.
no, I'm reading it out. All right.
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
know, I know. Just
If I have to
font.
figure that out. I see. This is what I'll figure it out. For next week, I'll figure
Yeah.
it out so you can see the
Yeah,
so
it
you can
doesn't have
just.
to be next week, just saying,
No, no,
you
no.
know.
It should be pretty easy because I'm restreaming the chat from Restream. So what I can do is just, yeah, fuck it, I'll figure it out. Anyways, we'll see you guys all next week. Netsuko needs to
Yes.
go. I need to go, and
Yeah.
we may or may not do a promo because usually that's just for us to get the microphone levels right, and I think we got it down packed. But tentatively, it should be Thursday next week, around about 2 hours previous. So it'll be 3 o'clock my time, right? So it'll be whatever time it is, minus 2 hours wherever you are. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we will catch you then. And thank you for joining us. And
Thank
if you have
you.
joined us at the very end, you can always go back and rewatch. But see you guys later.
See ya.